Welcome to the Post Sports Chat. I'm Drew Rubenstein here with Dave Raese, and the WVU football season has come to a close, Dave. And we've discussed whether or not Dana Holgorsen should be fired or on the hot seat before, and I think we're both in agreement he deserves another year. Is that still where you stand on that?
Well, I don't know if it deserves another year, but I think he'll get probably another 3 years as long as that contract's there. And I mean, that's the fair thing to do. I think the whole process when he was hired to put him behind the eight ball a little bit because the staff was in flux for so many years, the changing half the offense, and then the whole defensive staff left, and then he brought people in and came, and he's really not been able to solidify that. And some of it might be his doing or better opportunities for the coaches, but some of it had to do with the way he was brought in. And I think he deserves probably an extra 2 years or so just when you take over a program like it was given to him and he accepted it, it's going to take a little longer, I think, because there was going to be some things going that just normally wouldn't, where you could just clear the whole staff and bring in your own group. He was sort of, he got it, in February, too, I think, when he was finally head coach. So there are some situations there that were not all under his control that I think he gets a couple more years.
You're looking at the bigger picture, and I think that makes a lot of sense. The other bigger picture item, though, that I started wondering about and kind of explored a little bit in my Sunday column was the crowd. And if he's losing this fan base, it was the third smallest crowd in Mountaineer Field history that turned out for Iowa State. And certainly circumstances, Thanksgiving break, playing a crummy Iowa State team, WVU not being very good, all come into play. But do you take that as an indication that he's maybe lost some of this fan base?
Well, anytime any coach loses, they're going to lose their fan base. So all he has to do is win, and they'll be back. I think every school in the country is probably the same way, And so I think that, all he's got to do is get a couple more wins, and if they'd been playing Texas instead of Iowa State, maybe they would have had a big crowd, and no one would be even talking about it.
You have seen some past coaches, and even Bob Huggins and Mike Carey on the basketball side, but you saw Don Nealon, a Rich Rodriguez, a Bill Stewart get very immersed into the community. And I don't want to be unfair to Dana Holgorsen, but it doesn't seem like you hear as much of that stuff about Dana Holgorsen. And is that just a sign of new times, or does some of that come into play too, that side of the head coaching position that maybe he needs to do more of?
Well, I think it is a sign of the times. I mean, Nick Saban is considered the best coach, college coach in the country. And I was listening on the radio today about he didn't realize, I guess, that his quarterback was on the cover, was with Sports Illustrated or something. And he said, I don't have time for that. He goes, I just worry about my football team. He goes, if I watch any TV, it's the Weather Channel to decide whether or not I'm going to, have practice indoors or outdoors tomorrow. And, he's sort of set the bar of what's expected of football coaches. It's almost 24/7 football, and there's no time for anything else. So, I just think it's for the time. And, Bill Stewart, everybody loves him now, but not everybody loved him when he was coaching here and felt that, he probably didn't do enough of that. So I just think that, as much money as he's being paid, the amount of, pressure is put on him to win games and to bring money in, that he's just not going to take any chances of being elsewhere when he feels that he needs to either be recruiting or drawing up new plays or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So it really is as simple as winning cures all, and that's all that really matters.
That's the way it is in sports, I think.
That said, WVU went 4-8 this season. Everybody knew going into the year it was going to be a rebuilding effort. But how would you describe this season now that it is complete?
Well, I thought 6-6 would be, a pretty even season, and of course you had surprises on both sides, Maryland and Kansas. Obviously, I thought we'll probably win, but then Oklahoma State. The quarterback situation is not good. It's still not good. Clint Trickett seemed to be the leader at the end of the things, but he's also seemed to be a little bit injury prone, and so I don't know. They've got to get that straightened up. You have to go with somebody and get that worked out, because the offense did well at times, and of course the defense also still has its problems. I don't know if it's more personnel than it is scheme, but they've coughed up a big lead here against a team that shouldn't have been even wanting to play that football game. Down as much as they were with their record away from home. What reason did they have to win that football game? But they did.
That said, this season, does it compare to any others that when you look back where just the disappointments of the entire season and kind of not such a promising outlook? What other eras kind of
Just about every other era that had a losing season, it's about the same. Frank Signetti, of course, had his 2-9 season was really a bad season, but Coach Nealon had his, and Coach Rodriguez had his, and it's just about
similar
the same.
Subjects every time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and that said, and to wrap up, if you're Dana Holgorsen, you hit on the quarterbacks. Is that where where you'd start? But starting Sunday morning after the Iowa State game, what's kind of your priority list if you're Dana Holgorsen?
Well, maybe a vacation. I think sometimes you can put too much work. And like I said that last week, I think when I talked about it, that Andy Reid had a 13-1 record going into the Denver game the week before, coming off bye weeks. And the first week, he not only told the players there was no practice, he told them to get out of town. And I think, that might be the thing to do is just, go out, get re-energized a little bit. I think that season is worn on everybody. In fact, when they had the 2 weeks off, I was thinking that would have been a good thing for them to do is just give everybody their 1 week off and just say, let's forget about it. And sometimes you can over-practice, overthink it. I think maybe that's where they are. And, get back to maybe some basics, but that also would mean, getting to a quarterback, maybe coming out of spring practice and saying, this is going to be our guy,
That's an interesting take, and signing day will be the next kind of benchmark to see where this program stands. Dana's talked a lot about needing to get the recruits up and just getting the personnel and needing talent in there, so that'll be the next time to really examine where West Virginia is. And our discussions...
That's if everybody's as good as they say they're
right.
going to be, they pan out.
Our discussions will kind of transition to more into basketball, but
Yes.
appreciate your time here
Thank
today. And please continue to check thedpost.com for the latest on the Mountaineers. Thanks for watching today.